All right. Hello, family. We got Sinclair here, aka the Health Nerd. And we are True Health Forever podcast, coming back to you with episode number 2. And I am here with the hubby.
Hey, I'm Hubby, aka Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. Thank you all for tuning in. Definitely want to take a quick moment to make sure everyone is appreciative of their life.
Yes.
Appreciative of the blessings they have. You're listening to this podcast on a phone, on a computer, in your car, in your home, whatever it is. So if you're listening, you are blessed and privileged to have life. So please take advantage of it.
So, again, we are the True Health Forever podcast. We are here on our health journey, just trying to live our best life, and we want to take you all with us. We want to take you on our journey. We want to share the knowledge, the trials and tribulations that we go through along this health journey.
Yes, ma'am.
So, this episode, I think it's very fitting that we start kind of our podcast. We did have our first episode where we just talked about why we started True Health Forever,
right.
Why we started the podcast. So if you did not catch that one, I would definitely go catch that.
Rewind. Go back to episode 1.
You don't need it to definitely get this message, but it's a great podcast. So we are going to start with how to start your health journey. The saying, and I think it's very true, is that starting is the hardest part, of any journey.
Right.
And that's just because there's so much resistance. When you decide you want to do something, naturally your mind creates all 550 million
excuses
why you shouldn't do it. So we're here to tell you why you should.
Boom.
Let's see. So we started our health journey we kind of both had different starts, different periods.
Yes, ma'am.
That we would consider our starts. But I'll start with mine. So, I think the first step that I can remember taking was deciding to limit the amount of red meat that I ate. So instead of ground beef tacos, I would make ground turkey tacos.
Which you need to season way more than ground beef tacos. Let me add that, because the first time I had turkey, I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah, it took a little bit of convincing. But I feel like it's not, once you find something that gives you the same amount of satisfaction or a similar amount of satisfaction, but it's healthier, in my mind, there's no reason to go back to the unhealthy thing,
right.
So I feel like it took us a couple tries. It took me a couple tries to really get the seasoning method down.
Yes, it did, Queen. You got it, though. You a chef now.
After we got there, though, it was a pretty easy switch to make. You literally at the grocery store, rather than picking up this package, you pick up this one.
So I may have missed it, but why did you give up red meat? Of all the meats to start off with, why did you lean into that one first?
I feel like that's kind of something that I think semi-common knowledge that red meat is, and of all of the meats, probably the unhealthiest for you. And I think I also experienced that. That stomach ache was a little bit worse when I would eat greasy red meat, when I was eating carne asada burritos and carne asada fries and pulled pork and all of the wonderful things. That's when I would have really bad stomach aches. And you're like, what is going on? So I felt like just making that correlation of, okay, well, I ate chicken, and I still had a stomach ache, but it wasn't as bad. Today I had some delicious, greasy carne asada, and I feel terrible.
Gotcha.
So I feel like that's kind of the correlation I started making in my head. So when I said, okay, what's the first step you're going to make? Well, I'd already known in my head, you don't really feel that great after eating red meat, so why don't we try and limit that a little bit?
So it was unique to your own body. You have to be conscious of how food is affecting you personally.
And that's how it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like wherever you notice the biggest disparity or the biggest issues, that's probably a good place to start. What are some things that, can help me solve this general issue? And that's a good place to start your journey.
I think I started, year reference, 2011, my freshman year. And I think, pretty sure it was that year, I started giving up soda. Or I started paying more attention to how much soda I was drinking. So I used to work for McDonald's. I used to get soda, Big Macs, French fries, all that stuff for free in high school. Sprite, I felt like I was sponsored during Sprite, even though they never knew my name. So I would drink soda on the regular like it was water. So going to college, starting my athletic career, and being a little bit more conscious in my health, I wanted to just pay more attention to how much soda I was drinking. Apparently there's like 40 grams of sugar in every can of soda. It's like 12 teaspoons. So like when you actually like think about, all right, let me put 12 teaspoons, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, like nobody would actually do that.
Right.
Like if you had a glass of water, like everybody, I feel like people would be like, oh, I'm not going to do that. That's too much.
Right. So it's interesting how kind of the sugar gets hidden within the cans. And I also think about soda or like the things that I'm consuming on an economic level because I'm a money person. So it's like if the average number of cans of soda that people drink per year, which I looked this up, is like 500 cans of soda. Each can of soda is like $3 to $4. That's $1,500 to $2,000 per year that you're spending on soda, which is not healthy for you.
That's a trip.
Yes. You can go to Jamaica, you can go to Thailand, you can go to Santa Barbara for the weekend, like whatever you want to do. $2,000 is a significant amount of money. So the fact that the average American is spending $2,000 on something that's, I don't want to say killing them because that's dramatic, but something that's not benefiting their body, definitely. I think woke me up to my own health journey.
You actually reminded me of, I think the first step was before that. I also cut out soda before college.
She stayed trying to be like me, you know.
This was before I even met you. This was...
We were always connected through the universe.
You're very right. Like you said, it already happened.
It already happened.
Yes. So this was, I think, probably my junior year in high school. So that would have been 2010. My New Year's resolution was to cut out soda. And I did it for... I mean, honestly, I did not... The first time I had soda after cutting it out for that New Year's resolution was the dorms at Davis. And it was just so readily available.
Yeah, it was in the cafeteria, free, unlimited.
Yeah, so that's where I unfortunately got the habit back.
I mean, but to be clear, I didn't completely cut out soda. So I don't like the idea of like, I don't eat any meat ever, or I don't drink any soda ever. So like when we go to the movies, I'm still drinking Sprite. You know what I'm saying? For holidays, I'm eating meat because my grandma is not going to cook vegetarian options. So I think something that's helped us not only start the journey, but stay consistent is the fact that we haven't cut it out completely. And I think I'm jumping the gun, so I'm going to stop talking now.
You're good. I think that's a really good point to make, though, is like whenever you are, whatever that first step is, like be mindful of, don't go too far.
Right.
You can't go from like an average American diet to like, well, tomorrow I'm going to be vegan.
Raw, vegan, only eating grass and nuts.
Like it's not going to work out.
Yeah, I can't do that
if you're going to make the switch in a day. Like it's just not going to work out. And not, I mean, for a multitude of reasons. Just, I mean, for one of them being, you're not going to wake up tomorrow with all of the knowledge it takes to be a healthy raw vegan. Like that's a knowledge base it takes to build. That takes practice to do. So if you go from the standard American diet to like, I'm going to go eat vegan tomorrow, like the standard American is probably like, okay, well, I'm going to eat like, what are they, salad. They're like, I'm going to eat salad for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like there's a whole array of other things you can be eating, but like I feel like that's the first thing people eat. The jump to is like, well, I'm just gonna eat salad.
Right, with lettuce, which has very little nutrition.
All right, there's so many other things.
Can we take a shift to talk about barriers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think for me, one of the biggest barriers that I continue to face is my love for food. I'm a foodie. I always have been.
Thanks.
Yeah, even like growing up, I danced like at least 5 days a week, most of the time 6, for at least 2 hours a day. So
Is dance a sport?
Yes.
Podcast listeners, this is a a question for all you out there. Do you all consider dance a sport?
Yeah.
If you want to go ahead and DM us at True Health Forever with the number 4 on Instagram, let us know, or send us an email, info@truehealthforever. Do you think dance is a sport?
This is the next declared debate right here.
Hey man,
we go back and forth on this all the time.
Sorry, go ahead. Continue your lovely dancing story.
Anyways, I was an athlete.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are an athlete. You still are a dancer.
I am an athlete. But yeah, so I was dancing a lot throughout the week and getting my exercise in. So I really could eat whatever I wanted, and I did. My family always said, like, I feel like a lot of my family were bigger boned. So they were like, you're so lucky that you do what you do when you dance. Like, otherwise you would look a lot different. Like, you would be much bigger. You would probably have a lot more health issues. And, I was like, yeah, okay. Well, I got dance in an hour, so I'm going to eat this, whatever I'm eating. But that has always been a struggle for me. So without having the right mindset, when I went to college, that freshman 15 turned into like freshman 2025 because I still had the same mindset of, what are you talking about? I could eat whatever I want. But now, like, I'm definitely was not going to the gym 6 days a week for 2 hours. So I feel like my body had a wake-up call of, like, I'm still consuming probably the same, if not more, calories because of the DC.
The dining commons, all you can eat every meal.
Yeah.
So great.
But then not working out. So that's just an example of, like, I've always had the mentality of, like, eating whatever I wanted. So that has been the biggest switch to make of, you cannot just eat whatever you want all the time, I
think, so the freshman 15, I think, is a common experience for people.
Yeah.
I think another common experience that doesn't have a name is the adulting 20.
Right.
When you graduate, right, when you graduate from college and you no longer have access to that gym, or you're not walking to classes, biking to classes, and you're just driving to and from work,
right,
sometimes in traffic for an hour. So it's like you gain 20 to 30 pounds now that you're a quote-unquote adult professional.
Right.
So I think it's just kind of the same barrier.
Yeah. Like, I feel like you just have different stages in your life where you go through, like, this wake-up call.
Right.
You're
I'm sure parenting is going to be another one.
Yeah, your daily routine drastically changes. And I feel like,
routine.
Yes.
There we go.
You go from, like, you're in high school, you don't really even have a say in what your day looks like. You have to go to school, and you may get to choose whatever your after school activity is.
I ditched a few times, to be honest with y'all.
But your routine is laid out for you. Then you go to college, you have a little bit more freedom there. You still have to go to your classes, but whatever you do with the rest of the day is up to you. Then you get the wake up call.
I didn't go to some of my classes, to be honest.
I was slacking.
I've turned a new leaf. I'm a new person now. True Health Forever. Okay, I lived it, but now I'm on the other side.
There you go. And then you get one additional, wake-up call when you graduate. And like you said, now you have this 9 to 5 or whatever type of schedule you have, but that's very different than college. So you have to completely adapt to that. And that is, depending on what type of job you have, can be detrimental for you, because if you have a very sedentary lifestyle where you're behind the desk for 8 hours, and now you're not going to the gym, you're getting very little movement in your body. And yeah, if you're not changing the way you're eating, if you keep the same type of diet, you're only gonna pack on the pounds, which comes with many other health issues.
Right. And I think, like, weight isn't always directly correlated to your health. Like, every time I go to the doctor, they always say I'm obese and I need to lose weight, like, no matter what.
Right.
Because I've always been, big boned, heavy set, whatever you call it, but I feel like I've always been around, like, 180 to 220 is like my range. 220 was on the heavier side after freshman year, and I thought I was probably the healthiest I was when I was at 220, because I was playing football, I was lifting weights on a consistent basis. So if you weigh 220, 230, you can still be healthy and be proud of who you are. You don't need to lose a whole bunch of weight per se. But you want to look at your LDL levels, your HDL levels, your blood sugar levels. I don't know what those acronyms stand for.
Not what they stand for.
I don't know what they stand for, but LDL and HDL are like your cholesterol levels within your blood. So if you have high LDLs, then you need to look into what type of fats you're putting into your body, how much fried foods you're eating, how much saturated fat versus unsaturated fat, those things. So I think weight always is like the easy metric, especially for doctors to come in, all right, how much do you weigh? But take a deeper dive, and I did this for the first time ever. I think, 2 months ago I went to the doctors. I really don't mess with the doctors like that, y'all. But 2 months ago, because of my beautiful wife told me to, I went in, I got my LDL levels, my HDL levels, and they were all really good, except for LDLs, because I love French fries. So I would highly encourage y'all, if you can go in, if you have the good insurance, we can go in for free and get your checkup. You might as well get your blood work. But I think a barrier for me in giving up soda or starting my health journey was, I feel like the people around me weren't necessarily going through the exact same journey. And eating and food is very social for me. Right. I go to the movie theater, I need my soda. You need your popcorn. I need my candy.
It's like a cue.
Right. It's like exactly. It's a cue. When I do certain things or when I'm around certain people, if I go to a family barbecue, I'm eating a double cheeseburger, some macaroni and cheese, some stuffing, some hot links. Like, that's just what it is.
Right.
So I think a biggest struggle for me was trying to find ways that I can still be with my folks, still socialize with my folks, still have fun, but be conscious of what I'm putting into my body during those times, and take those moments to educate those around me. Like, oh, Devon, how come you're not drinking this soda? Why are you drinking water? Oh, I'm drinking water because I'm trying not to get type 2 diabetes. Thank you, cousin. Or oh, Devon,
you must know.
If you must know. Oh, Devon, how come you're not eating pork and beef ribs anymore? Oh, well, Grandy, I gave up pork because I'm trying to make sure da-da-da-da-da. And I actually got Grandy, this is my grandma who partially raised me, by the way, folks. I got her to give up pork for 2 months.
It's impressive.
And then she got back to it because I moved out the house. But those 2 months, she said she was feeling good, she was moving good, she was drinking tea with turmeric in it. So I think you starting your own health journey and being brave enough to share your experience and your knowledge with your family, with your friends, could influence other people to also make that switch, which will then make that barrier, I think, lower. You know, if more people around me are health conscious, like my wife, it makes it easier for me to make health conscious decisions.
I feel like we have had so many people around us that, I don't know, we can't directly correlate, that our journey has, directly led to their journey. But I feel like it's only natural that the people you hang out with, if they're going on this journey and they're sharing that knowledge, and you because you hang out with them, you get to see the benefits. You get to see, like, they're happy, they're living their lives, they are thriving. Naturally, you're going to be curious and want to try it, right? And then, like you said, starting is the hardest part. As soon as you try it, you're going to get on your own rhythm. You're going to get on your own, see your own benefits, and you're going to want to keep going. So I feel like, hopefully, even if you are the only person in your family or in your little group that is starting this journey, hopefully it's only temporary, that you are the only person. It may take a lot of, a while for people to jump on, but, I think we've both seen that people will grab onto what works for them. Even my family, my mom and dad, I feel like I've tried to, I tell them all these things that I do. I know that not everything's going to stick. I know that. But the fact that I bought my mom a juicer for Christmas or her birthday, something last year, and she loves juicing, and she makes juices for the whole family. She'll make them for, my dad, for her, and then when we go, she's like, oh, you want a juice? That makes me feel good, because I'm like, she wasn't juicing before, and now she is. So
you did that, Queen.
And I don't even need the credit like that, but it just feels good to know that they're one step, closer to being healthier beings. So that's good to know. It's good to know.
I saw a Nipsey quote, R.I.P. the great Nipsey Hussle. I saw a Nipsey quote that said, if you look in your circle and you're not inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. That was fire to me. I was like, wow, that whole quote just changed my life. So I think it's important that if you're looking in your circle and you don't feel inspired, or more importantly, if you think you're that person in the circle that's not inspirational, that's not motivating the people around you, take a second to think, all right, how can I today motivate someone who's in my circle, who's in my family? Whether that's health, whether that's business, whether that's just saying you look good today, whether that's giving someone a hug, how can you motivate or inspire someone that you love or care about?
I have another one that kind of goes along the same theme, which is you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with most. So I feel like that really just makes you take a step back and look at, who am I hanging out with?
Who are my people?
What are they doing? You know, what are their inspirations? What are they trying to do with their life? And, you know, if it's positive, then great, feed off of that, share ideas, you know, bounce off of each other, grow together. If it's not, if they're not doing good things, if they are not benefiting your life, if they are like a leech for your energy rather than a giver of energy,
it ain't nothing to cut that friend off. Hey, it ain't nothing to cut that friend off.
Hey. I mean, and not like in a mean way, but just like you, for yourself, you need to know like that. If you are hanging down with someone who is taking you down, you got to do what's best for yourself.
Yeah, I've already done that to some folks. Like there's people where it's like every time I hang out with them or I reach out, there's nothing but negativity that comes out. Like that's messed up with my frequency.
Right.
That messes with my vibe. So if you're not on the positive tip, if you're not trying to inspire me, I'm not gonna necessarily cut you off, but I may not reach out to you as much as I reach out to other people who I think are adding to my fire.
Right. And it doesn't even have to be like health. Like it doesn't need to be. You don't have to follow the same diet. It's just like we don't care about that.
Yeah,
but
I know
like,
carnivores still.
Right.
I know carnivores. Yeah, that's cool. I don't discriminate.
But it's just like, are you trying to do something positive with your life? Like that's really it. You know. Yeah.
All right. So final shift. Can we talk about suggestions moving forward?
Yep.
Okay. Would you like to kick us off, Queen, or would you like me to start?
You have one. Go ahead.
Okay. So my suggestion moving forward is to, I think I want to make it kind of similar to what my first step was. And my first step was being conscious of the amount of non-water that I'm drinking. So again, every time you drink soda, Hawaiian Punch, coffee, even green tea, Lipton, which we think is good, but it's actually not good for you. Every time you're drinking those things, be conscious of it and maybe, I don't want to say count of it, be like, all right, I drank 3 sodas today.
Yes.
And then that's the first step. My secondary step would be, before you drink anything else, drink a cup of water.
And if you still want that thing.
Right. Yeah. So if you're sitting down for dinner, drink a cup of water first. And then if you still want some Sprite afterwards, boom, get yourself some Sprite. In the morning, drink yourself a cup of water. And then if you still want some coffee afterwards, go get yourself some coffee. But I think that will, one, automatically make you drink more water every day, because if you want to get to this reward, you need to go through, I don't want to say water is a barrier, but you need to go through this barrier of water before you can get your soda, before you get your caffeine. So hopefully that will increase your water and decrease the amount of other stuff that you're drinking. So that's my first step or suggestion. Be conscious of the amount of non-water you're drinking, and every time you want to drink some non-water, drink at least 1 cup of water before.
And I think between the two of us, like I have a couple different tips that I want to give.
She about to hit y'all with that wisdom, y'all.
Because, as we mentioned before, everyone's health journey is so different. So I could give you one tip, but this one tip may not work for you. So I don't want you to be like, well, nah, health is not for me because that didn't work for me, right?
Dang. So I appreciate that, because I feel like some people will just give you one thing and expect you like, oh, that has to work for you, aka I just did that. But this young lady over here is going to give you multiple options to make sure it works for everyone. You actually care, don't you?
I do.
Wow, you're that person.
I really do want everybody to be healthy.
So that's why you're the health nerd.
Thank you.
I respect that.
So my first one is actually vibing off of what you just said. So you said something very key, and that was, you were saying to yourself, I'm going to drink this soda right now. So that, if you are going to do nothing else, it makes such a difference for you to consciously, physically, whether you are in a space where you can physically say it or just physically think, I am going to consume this double cheeseburger, animal fries, and vanilla shake. That, the fact that you have to say it out loud and do it, I want you to do it every single meal, every single thing that goes in your mouth. I want you to say, I am consciously making this decision to eat this, right? So, and this is only going to work if you actually want to be healthier. If you don't want to change how you're eating, then you're going to have no problem saying, I'm going to eat this cheese pizza.
Yes, I'm
going to eat these ribs. I'm going to drink this soda, and I'm going to eat this ice cream.
All in the same meal.
Right. As an appetizer. Like, you're
hey, that was me in college. With you.
Yeah. Right, so if you're not trying to be healthy, you're going to have no problem doing that. But if you have completely made your decision that, and it doesn't have to be like it's not an on and off switch, but it's just like I am trying to be healthy. You are committed to that. That's the first step, right? Saying, I want to be healthy. So if after you've done that, I want you to start saying out loud before eating or drinking anything. Because what that's going to do is going to start making you think about what you are putting in your mouth, which that is the most dangerous thing. I think a lot of people are so, like you said, the cues, right?
The cues.
The cues. It's breakfast time. I need to sit down and eat breakfast. It's noon. I'm hungry. I need to sit down and eat lunch. You're not actually thinking about what you're doing and what's going in your mouth. So that's a very big first step. And what that's going to do is start to realize. It's going to start to help you realize. How much of your diet is intentional and how much of it is not. Ooh,
she's giving y'all some metaphysics stuff right now with consciousness and stuff. Ooh, so, go ahead, Queen.
I know it's so hard for me to like narrow down if I want to go like all of these things.
This is about to be a long podcast. That's cool.
No, but in a long story short, a healthy diet doesn't have to mean 100% clean. Like you said, I feel like healthy just means most of what you do is benefiting your body in some way. So with that being said, we still eat, like he said, during holidays and when we travel. We have consciously made the decision to say when we travel and on holidays we get to eat what we want.
I want to be clear, it's when we travel internationally. So
yes.
we save our chips, not drinking these caffeine drinks, not drinking the soda all throughout the year. And at the end of this year, we're going to London, Paris, and Amsterdam. We've been to Thailand, we've been to Jamaica, and we're able to do those things and eat whatever the heck we want when we're out there.
And feel good about it.
And I don't feel any type of guilty because we make these conscious decisions all throughout the year.
Right. And I feel like the only reason we are able to feel good about that, like you said, is because most of the time we are being very conscious of what goes in our mouth.
Right.
So that is my first tip. Because it's basically like almost like a food journal. I'm not good at keeping journals, so that's another recommendation. If you like to write things down, then start a food journal and keep it for like a week and actually go.
Is there an app that they can do for food instead of actually physically writing it? Because it's 2019, a lot of people don't like to write.
Yeah. So I actually use MyFitnessPal. That's a good one if you just want to keep track. They have a food diary, so you can just keep track of what you eat. And actually, like if you eat, hopefully you're not eating too many processed packaged foods, but if you do, the barcode on the back, it has a little scanning thing. So like if you have a bag of chips or something, or a bag of carrots.
Ooh.
There we go. A bag of carrots, turn it around. The barcode, you can scan it and it'll show you, oh, okay, I ate a bag of carrots.
Then you think, remember that snack idea we had, carotines?
Oh, yeah. The carrot.
It's a terrible idea. More tips. You were talking to me about, I don't even know the scientific word you use.
Rhythms.
Thank you. Say that again louder, please.
Circadian rhythms. So my next kind of tip for how you can start your journey is a morning routine. So I talked about this in the first podcast briefly about how important it is. So I'll just touch on it a little bit more here. So the reason why a morning routine is important, and this is based off the assumption that on the average schedule where you were waking up in the morning and going to work in the morning, right?
Okay.
If you are on a shift type of job, this is going to be a little bit different because you're probably sleeping or working during these times. But on like the average schedule, a morning routine is very important because of something called circadian rhythms, and that is basically like in a 24-hour cycle. There are certain cues. A lot of them are internal. So just based off of your habits, like your body starts to form this rhythm. And it's usually lined up with the day. So it's usually like 24 hours. But there are also external cues like temperature and sunlight. So the fact that my body is registering that we are outside, I'm getting this vitamin D, it's warm outside, like my body registers that it's the middle of the day. And that's why I'm awake, I'm productive,
Gotcha.
Interesting. But after a full night's sleep, your willpower is actually the strongest. Your body's refreshed. You're ready to go. Your willpower, which is the desire to keep on your goals, to stay on whatever your plan is highest in the morning. So that's why you really want to take advantage of that and
start strong.
Start your day off strong. Be purposeful. Come up with like I said, how are you going to set your mind right? How are you going to set your brain right? How are you going to set up your body right? These are all like, I would say like pick one of those and come up with a routine in the morning. So if you maybe have a lot of stress in your life right now, getting your mind right is probably a really good thing to do in the morning. And that would be like meditation. meditation's a really good practice to start to release stress. Because I feel like for me, we kind of talked about this before the podcast, is I sometimes forget that there are still chemical reactions and physical things happening in your body.
Even though you're a chemical engineer.
I don't know.
That's your job.
Yeah. There are still physical things happening in your body when you're going through emotional stress or physical stress. So if you are, I don't know, trying to get a promotion at work or whatever, and you're stressing about this,
this is real life.
Your body's going to feel that, and it releases a stress hormone called cortisol. So the more stressed you are, the more your body is creating this cortisol. And you want to limit that. So that cortisol is what leads to things like anxiety and panic attacks and things like that, high blood pressure, all of these things. And unfortunately, a lot of these things are things that are plaguing the Black community because we don't think a lot about our emotional health, our emotional well-being, and making sure that we are de-stressing. We got a lot to stress about in these days, in this country.
There was an experiment done on, I think it was on monkeys, and there's dominant monkeys, and then there's the the minority monkeys, the monkeys that aren't in power in situations. And they did an experiment on the amount of cortisol that was in their blood and on their heart health. And the monkeys that were in the inferior or the subordinate positions had higher levels of cortisol just because they were around the dominant monkeys. So kind of taking that and translating it to humans, if you are in a position where you're not in power and you're always being around people who are the dominant force, who have the ability to say, hey, we need this done by tonight or else you're fired, or we need you to be here or else this, that's constantly put you in a stressful environment. So that's also plaguing your cortisol. So that's why it's important that even if you work a regular 9 to 5 and you're not doing extra things that are affecting your stress, just working that 9 to 5, unless you're the boss and you're the entrepreneur and it's your business, is going to be stressful for you. So it's important for you to do things to counteract that every single day.
I feel like we always think about like, oh no, it has to be like a family member passing away or something like that. Like, yes, that is a heavy amount of stress that your body is going to feel. But microaggressions, someone tries to touch your hair at work that you don't like those types of things are also going to create that cortisol. That
people asking me if I've had the Popeyes chicken sandwich, even though they know darn well I don't eat chicken.
Boom.
Why are you asking me?
Boom. All those things happening every single day, that is stress that weighs on your body. So like you said, every single day you need to do something to decrease that stress.
Yes, ma'am.
So meditation is a good one to get your mind right. Exercising and releases endorphins, which are a happy hormone that makes you happy.